I'm about to start a very hyped release. Oh, not religious purity culture. I dropped my camera on the floor. And then you have this big soggy wet lettuce.
Apparently the most efficient way to get back to our hotel is by cable car.
Wait, come down this.
They brought me a bracelet with my name on.
Just before we get into this week's vlog, I would like to introduce you to the sponsor of today's video, which is Wild. Wild make natural deodorants that have no harsh chemicals and are also extremely environmentally conscious. Wild is a brand that I've actually been using for about 2 years now, maybe just over 2 years, which predates me ever working with them on my channel. The reason why I personally changed is because I was having an issue with deodorant just like not working anymore. It was like my body was adjusting to deodorant. So I knew that I had to try something very different to all of the like high street brands that I was using on a day-to-day basis. And since I started using Wild, I've actually had no issues. So Wild have actually sent me their limited edition summer sunset case, which is a gorgeous color, and also their limited edition summer tropical sorbet fragrance. Now I do have a discount code for you guys if you want to check out Wild for yourself. You can use my code BooksJuly to get yourself 20% off all of Wild's products, including these limited edition beauties. This tropical sorbet scent smells so good. Sweet scents are my favorite. My favorite from their standard range is, or like their permanent range, is the vanilla and coconut one, and this one is like a very fruity, obviously, scent that has like, I can smell like pineapple and papaya. I'm so excited to pop this one in my suitcase before I head to Colorado a little bit later this month. But the refills themselves are compostable when you finish with them. There's no single-use plastic in any of this packaging, and the cases are of course reusable. Assembly is super simple. You just press in the buttons, pop the bottom out, put your refill in the canister and clip it all back together. So if you do want to check out Wild for yourself, like I said, head to my description box, link right at the top, and use the code BooksJuly to get 20% off the entire Wild range. And thank you once again to Wild for sponsoring this video. So here's the tea. It's Monday evening. I'm right in the middle of Patreon sprints, and I've just DNF'd the last book that I was reading for the last vlog that I was working on. So we're getting an impromptu start to this one because I am about to start a very hyped release, and I wanted to check in with you guys before I did because I know very little about this book going into it. So I wanted to set the base for this vlog before I've even opened the first page. The reason why I'm reading this particular book right now is because this weekend I'm going to be attending Rare, which is a romance festival that alternates between London and Edinburgh year by year. So I did go last year in Edinburgh, it was over 2 days, and I'm going this year in London and it's just 1 day this time. But one of the authors who's going to be there is Rebecca Yarros, who is the author of Fourth Wing. Everybody has read this book and everybody loves this book. So I want to read this obviously because it's a fantasy romance that everybody's seeming to enjoy, but also I want to read this because I'm tired of everybody telling me to read this. So if I read it, then they don't need to do that anymore because the job's done. I also believe that it's an incredibly like quick, absorbing, pacey read, and I mean I'm in a big reading mood. I've read a lot recently and I want to continue that, especially because I'm going to be busy for a lot of July, or like I've got stuff going on. So I'm not going to say no, but literally all I know about this is that it is a fantasy romance, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, because it's got spicy scenes in it. And it is set in, or is centered around, a dragon riding school. That is all I know. So I don't know how long it's going to take me to read this. Could be really quick, could take me a few days, but if I do manage to get through this, I do have other authors from Rare. I'm just going to dedicate, while I'm going to Rare this weekend, just going to dedicate this vlog to reading authors that are going to Rare, because I've actually done a terrible job of reading from the TBR that I set up when I got the author list like months ago. So we're going to be doing like a speedrun version of it. But yeah, I wish me luck, I guess. I am generally quite averse to hype. Like, I'm not the biggest fan of hype, especially on this level. So I'm scared, but I'm going in with an open mind, okay? I'm so far behind on my YouTube watch later that I still have not seen a single review of this because where I'm up to in my YouTube watch later, this book hasn't even been released yet, and I don't watch Book Talk. So I'm going in with a very open mind, not knowing anything apart from that everyone loves it, and hopefully there will be good things, and hopefully I'll love it too. Good afternoon. I got got a parcel today that I would like to open up for you guys, because not only is it a book, so it's relevant to a reading vlog, it is also very specifically, it is a book by an author that's going to be at Rare. And I was going through some of the authors that I would maybe be interested in seeing if I had books by them, how cheaply I could get some of those books. And a lot of them are indie authors, so there's no chance, and I don't want to pay like £17 for a J. Brie paperback, having never read J. Brie before. So that one is a no from me right now. But one that is a yes from me is this one that cost me a grand total of £3 British, and that one is What Lies Beyond the Veil by Harper L. Woods, which was on... She's driving me insane today. But this one was on my original Rare list, and then it was off Kindle Unlimited for a while because it got picked up by Hodder. And I was like, well, I'm not actually going to pay to read it, but it was only £3. So now I am paying to read it. So this one I don't know anything about, apart from that it is a fae romance. Oh, we have a content warning page in here. Oh, not religious purity culture. This one sounds decent actually. I actually had no idea what this was about. But it is about a girl who has been groomed her whole life for marriage, so yay fun. And the Lord of Mistfell murders his wife to claim her as his own. She has a choice to accept his offer or to be sacrificed to the Veil. And I think the Veil, yeah, the Veil has protected humans from the Fae for hundreds of years, but let me guess, the good guys are the Fae and the bad guys are humans. That's the way it normally goes down, and sounds pretty legit to me. So this one, I mean, I'll hopefully read it sometime soon, but I will at least be taking it to be signed. In terms of reading, I'm like 70-ish pages into Fourth Wing. Gotta say, I'm not sold on it yet. It's the writing is getting to me a bit. Like I had been told that the writing wasn't the best. It reads pretty much exactly like Divergent, which would be fine if I was reading a dystopian in the year like 2010, but I'm pretty sure I'm reading an adult fantasy romance, so I'm not feeling that element of it right now. And that guy Jack, who is, I've just realized I haven't actually told you what this is about. I'm still not far enough into, I feel, give you like a decent synopsis. So there's a guy called Jack anyway that the main character meets right before she's about to do the pre-trial to enter in this riding school where you have to cross a really dangerous bridge, and he just like looks at her and he's like, I'm gonna kill you, and it's very anime villain. I don't like it. It's feeling like Zodiac Academy but better written, which does not really attest to the writing of Four Wing, but really shows you how terrible the writing of Zodiac Academy is. But yeah, it's not a no from me right now. I'm just like not the biggest fan of the writing. I do very much see how it become quite addictive, because I feel like it really feeds into the books of that time period, but with content that is like super popular today, aka fantasy smut. So yeah, so far so. And it is the Buffy watch along with my patrons tonight, so I probably won't read the most today, but right now it is, I've just finished editing for the day. It's 5 p.m, so I'll feed the kids and hopefully they'll settle down, feed myself, get a workout in, and then set up for Buffy.
It can't be described in any known literature, but all research indicates
Second cycle. There's no one there. I started work.
And those little legs, they wouldn't be much good without one of those. Would they, Donnie?
Tarot, I just want to dip my toes into tarot, you know, and it's so hard. Like, I can't make a decision anyway, but it's so hard to pick a pretty deck and be like, this is the deck that I want. New POVs. Also, it's expanding the world along with like the main narrative. And yeah, so yesterday evening I was having a real good day. I scheduled all of my content up until the 20th of July aside from this vlog, so I was pretty impressed with myself, was feeling pretty good. I'm off work now, pretty much. I'm out of office until the 20th ish of July. So I was dancing in the kitchen. I was making a batch of double chocolate and peanut butter cookies, which, oh my god, I will put the recipe for these down in the description box because they are the best cookies. I was just getting a little bit of b-roll for the vloggy vlog and I dropped my camera on the floor and we broke it, so I ordered a new one. I'm very upset. But obviously, like, I can't not have a camera. Like, I can't live without my camera. So I ordered another one straight away, but I'm still coming to terms emotionally with having broken my camera. I've never broken a camera like this dramatically before. I had a DSLR when I was a teenager that I spilled nail varnish remover on, and it like melted all the wires inside, but I've never like actually broke one of my vlogging cameras. Actually killed it through accident, not just from it being like kind of old and used a lot. Disaster has struck, and I mean, Taylor Swift tickets go on sale. Pre-sale is Monday, starting Monday, so it wasn't really a good time for a big expense, but at least it's a business expense, I guess. So today I've been packing my cases. I'm simultaneously packing for Colorado and Rare at the same time. Picked my Rare outfits, all of that good stuff, and now it's early afternoon. I'm gonna get a workout. I'm going to go drop a return off at the post office, walk Brie, and then get in the bath and do like my full, you know, like shit, like it's a full surface bath tonight. I am hoping to get some more reading done. I do want to talk to you a little bit about Fourth Wing. I'm about 200 pages in and I am enjoying it a little bit more now, so I do need to kind of fill you in on that, but I just wanted to fill you in on the camera drama before I moved on with the rest of my day first. So I do not have very much time because it is 8:53 and I set up a fortnight date at 9. But I really need to tell you what this book is about before I get on a train tomorrow and literally just like don't tell you. I'm 249 pages into this now, so pretty much exactly halfway. Didn't realize as well that this was a 500-page book when I was picking it up. I thought it was more around 400. But this is about a girl who is chronically ill and she comes from a family of dragon riders. It's set in a world where I think there's 4 different quadrants that you can go into, and I'm assuming that because they're quadrants. I know one is the scribes, one is the healers, one is the dragon riders, and I don't think I know what the 4th one is right now. But this girl comes from a family of dragon riders. Her eldest brother was one, he's died. Her eldest sister's one, her mother's one, and her father, who was also died, was a scribe. So because she is chronically ill, she has like weak joints and weak muscles, as far as I understand at this point. She wanted to be a scribe and she wanted to follow in her father's footsteps. However, her mother said that there is absolutely nobody in this family that can be anything but a dragon rider. The problem is that on the path to becoming a dragon rider, there are plenty of places where you can fail, and failure in this quadrant means death. So like, for example, the very first challenge to enter into the school, the training academy, is that you have to cross this bridge that's really high and really slippery, and like there's a certain percentage, I think it's like at least 20% of the students that enter like just die in that first challenge alone. There's also like obstacle courses that mimic like mountain dragons. The dragons can just kill you. The objective of the school, I guess, is that you train in a variety of like martial military disciplines to hopefully by the end of your first year have a dragon select you for bonding, and then when you graduate out of this school after 3 years, you will join the army. So I'm guessing that the overall plot of this is going to be war. There's also a plot line in here with a bunch of the kids who were the children of the leaders of a rebellion, and as punishment for, I guess, their parents' rebellion, the parents were all killed, but they were put into this school and essentially trained to fight for the other side, which seems like a weird tactic, if you ask me. I feel like the aim was that all of the kids would die, but they didn't. Like, some of them obviously got into the school. We do have a little bit of a love triangle going on in this book, which is really frustrating me right now, because one of the people in this triangle, okay, one's like the guy, and it's obvious that he's the guy, and then you have this big soggy wet lettuce that you know pretty much from the second interaction with him that he is not going to be the guy, and that's fine. Okay, it's fine that we have this guy to illustrate like all of the things that she thinks she wants that she may not actually want and may not actually be good for her, in comparison to this guy who's all of the things that she shouldn't want but may actually be perfect to her. But I just have an issue when I'm halfway through the book and this big soggy wet lettuce is still rolling around on the pages. Like, he is literally the worst. And he's very overprotective. From your very early interactions with him, you kind of realize that like he doesn't want the main character to succeed. He wants to protect her by putting her in this pretty little box where she's like perfectly safe and nothing bad can ever happen to her, but also like nothing good would ever happen to her as well. So it just seems like super heavy-handed that I'm still halfway through this book and he's still just doing the same thing over and over and over and over again. I am struggling a little bit with the writing in this. The writing itself is not improving. It's still very much reading like a YA dystopian from 2010. And while I'm now at a point where I am enjoying the book a little bit more and I am intrigued by the actual love interest, I'm getting a little bit distracted by the writing. So if I'm not in a perfect mood, I'm kind of zoning out while I'm reading, which is obviously unfortunate. I don't know why people think that this is really pacey and addictive and quick to read, because it took me till page 150 before I got to a point where I was even interested in it. And I feel like while I am invested in the story now and I keep finding myself like falling into it, there are points where like I'm just completely zoning out. So definitely an improvement. I'm definitely intrigued and I'm enjoying it. I feel like the point where I did actually start to enjoy this was when the dragons actually turned up, because this book is about dragons, but it takes a while for them actually to be introduced into the story. And as soon as they are, I'm infinitely more interested and the story's like ramped up a notch. I do feel like we're having a little bit of a plateau in the plot again right now after the introduction of the dragons, but so far so good. Promising things. I feel like at this point this could be between a 3.5 and a 4.5 for me, unless the ending absolutely blows me away. Something that I do appreciate about this actually is that there's been no smut yet, because I love me a fantasy romance, but I like a slow burn. Like I don't want insta love, I don't want fated mates from page like 15, and I don't want smut in like chapter 3. I want the relationship to be a slow progression, especially in this one where it's enemies to lovers. I want to see that progression and I'm really enjoying that so far, because I've said this before, my favorite part of a romance is sexual tension, not any of the actual smut. So if you don't have that slow burn, I'm not invested in the relationship because I need that sexual tension to get me hooked. And so far this is actually providing that, so definitely points to this for that, if nothing else. So our tube unexpectedly terminated one stop before we were supposed to get off. So I rerouted us through maps. And apparently the most efficient way to get back to our hotel is by cable car. So that's what we're doing.
We're in a cable car because apparently this was apparently this was the easiest way for us to get back to our hotel.
Oh my god, I am going to die. Look at where it's sinking there in front of us. So we are back at the hotel and tucked in and ready for bed. We have Ashley over here in the corner using the only plug near the bed. Yes. You. I wasn't snoozing though. I was sitting and politely waiting for you to shower.
How was I both showering and putting in a plug socket?
Because I wasn't doing anything, because I was waiting for you to shower. And instead of showering, you were stealing plug sockets.
I was waiting for you to take your makeup off.
Right, well. It doesn't matter. I've been wronged. So it's not actually that late, but I'm an old lady. It's like 10:30. But we are getting up at some... We're getting up at some point tomorrow. We want to be queuing because I think the queue for general access starts at 10 and general entry starts at 11:30. So we kind of want to get there to be at the beginning-ish of the queue, because like I just don't want to I just don't want to queue and then just queue, because it'll just be queuing all day essentially. Not that like I'm fully expecting that anyway, especially because I know a lot of the authors that we want to see are the ones that are ticketed. So the plan is to get there for 10, which means we'll be up early so we can get some breakfast, get in the queue, get ourselves sorted. I have read a bunch of my book, which I thought was next to me and it isn't. I only have like 130 pages left now and I really like it now. I've come around a bit. The elements that were annoying me are still annoying me, but I really like the romance element of this. I feel like I like the chemistry there, so yeah, I feel like it's winning me over. I still don't necessarily think it's going to be 5 stars, depends how the last 100 pages play out, but definitely enjoying it a lot more than I was at the beginning. So I'm gonna read a little bit, then get myself some sleep, and I'll check in with you guys tomorrow when, well, I don't know when, but I will at some point. Night. Say night. Night.
We got breakfast. Woo! And we're eating it on the water. How much do you reckon those flats are over there? Because I want one.
A lot.
I'm starting to think that we do things way too differently, to take this seriously. And all of the times that we said we go to therapy, but still we never been. Yeah. But things don't change, they stay the same. I've gotta go my own way. Yeah, things don't change. I've gotta do better than you for me. You're all about you, and all of the things that you do. You're all about you. On.
So it is 20 to 4 and we have been done for a while except for the ticketed authors, and it's not looking good for us because there's 2 hours left. Apparently at 4 o'clock all of the lines open for a free-for-all. I have number 366 for Rebecca Yarros and she's currently going up to 250, and 485 for Anna Huang, who's currently going up to 400. So I feel like the time that they're going to be opening the lines for everyone is about the same time that my number would be called anyway. So I don't care about seeing both of them either, as long as I get to see one. Given how much I'm enjoying Fourth Wing now, I've got 60 pages left, which I will tell you all about soon. I really want to meet Rebecca Yarros, so we're gonna go hang around just in case they are gonna open the line to everyone at 4 and see what happens. But keep your fingers crossed for me, because I've read this entire book in anticipation of meeting Rebecca Yarros, and if I go home without now, I'm gonna be mad. We're done at Rare, and somebody's just come up to me. Alright, honestly, like, this has made my life.
They brought me a bracelet with my name on. And
that has made my day. I just met Rebecca Yarros, so we got there. We did Anna Huang, we did Jay Brie, and we're on our way out. So like, Rare 2023, a success with the Trader Joe's tote. Would recommend, head to your local Trader Joe's, pick up a tote and bring it to a book convention. Just let you know it was a roaring success, and I'll bring you a very small, you'll be proud of me, a very modest haul when we get back to the hotel. So the haul that Can we not, please? So the haul that I promised you guys, this isn't it. A lot of these were my books. I did, from the free table, I picked up Always Mine by Laura Pavlov. I did mention this in my Rare TBR because it is like a small town romance, and I think that these people in this book used to know each other. Yeah, he's been my best friend since kindergarten, and it's like a friends to lovers small town romance thing, very outside anything I normally read. I just thought that it sounded kind of good, and I think it was this guy on the cover that really, you know, like, did it for me. So it was on the free table, so I picked it up. I also picked up book 3 in the Olivia Wildenstein series that I was reading earlier this year and really loved. This one is a fae romance, but well, it's a fantasy romance that has fae in it, but it also has a race of sorceresses and also crow people, and the fae are kind of like the elite and look down upon everyone else. But this one
is book 1. And book 2 is currently unavailable on Amazon, so I was really hoping to get that as well, but she'd run out by the time I got there. But I did get book 3, which has just come out, and I haven't read it yet. These ones are also, of course, signed. And the cool thing about these paperbacks is that they do have like inside cover art that's really pretty. And the only other thing I picked up isn't even for me. It was a pre-order from Lana Pachezek of the special edition. This is just like an event edition of the Longing of Lone Wolves, and I picked this up for Ash because not Ashler, just Ash, who, as you all know, is one of my patrons who truly does the most. She's such a sweetheart and she loves this series. She's introduced it to my Patreon Discord. Everyone calls it the... Is it the Wolf? Yeah, it's the Wolf Smut series. This edition is truly stunning. So when I saw that it went on sale and it was just an event edition, I did pre-order it to pick up at Rare so that I could send it to her. It also came with some swag, which I've like interspersed throughout to be able to post it off securely without getting too many like lumps in the book. But yeah, I thought I would show you guys because this is just a truly beautiful edition. But sadly, this one isn't for me. I think I did pretty well. I showed a lot of restraint there. I think it's because I brought a ton of books back from Rare last year, and I know that I haven't gotten to a bunch of them, like ones that I picked up just because they sounded kind of interesting or because they were there. I've learned from my lesson, and also, wait, no, I haven't learned from my lesson. I've learned my lesson, and I had to like really tightly pack my case last year as well, and I don't have the option this year of doing that because my case is smaller because that one broke. I mean, I'm not surprised it broke. It had a lot of books in it at one point, far too many. So yeah, I didn't do too bad. I really liked the event again, like I did in Edinburgh, and I'm looking forward to next year, but I don't know what we're doing for the rest of the day. I'm probably gonna go get food at some point, and I have literally nothing else I care about doing while I'm in London, because I am gonna be back on Tuesday to get a flight to Denver, so maybe I'll just sit in bed and read. Or we could go to the roof. It's been raining. We'll find something to do.
I'm starting to live in the moment while you're on cloud 9. Yeah, just take your time. And all of the matching tattoos, I thought we'd earn them.
So I made it home, and I just wanted to show you guys a gift that was given to me yesterday that I forgot to include in my haul. This is from Nina, who is a fellow booktuber. She's a French booktuber and has also been one of my patrons in the past. So like she came over and said hi, and it was like so great. It was so great meeting everybody yesterday, honestly. It was surprising that somewhere like Rare, like I didn't necessarily to meet a whole bunch of you guys, but I'm so glad that so many of you like came over and said hi, and it was great meeting everyone. But Nina brought me a gift, which was this Fourth Wing bookmark, which is super pretty, super shiny, and also has these quotes on the back. And I forgot about it because it was in my book, obviously, because I'm reading Fourth Wing. I just swapped out the bookmark that I was using for this one, but I love it so much, and thank you very much, Nina, for thinking of me and bringing me this. In terms of Fourth Wing, I finished it on the train back today. I loved it. I ended up giving it 5 stars, which may seem a little surprising given my criticisms, but this is very much like an enjoyment based rating, I feel, as opposed to a critical rating, because there were still all of those elements that annoyed me. That love triangle guy just was annoying the entire way through. The whole thing with the anime style bully at the beginning, which is, I mean, it's not a spoiler because it's very early on that he turns up. He's called Jack. He, for me, felt very cheesy and felt more of like an archetype than a character. And the writing, I think, throughout the beginning, I didn't love it. It took me a while to adjust to. I will say the more I got into the book, like when I passed that halfway point, the writing really wasn't a problem for me at all. And I just loved the romance in here. And the reason why I ended up giving it 5, because realistically, if we were thinking critically, I feel like it's definitely a high 4-star. But the thing that made me go like, you know what, no, this is a 5-star, is I thought, is this one of the best books I've read this year? Is it one of my favorite books I've read this year? And the answer is yes. So it's 5 stars. But if we were being real picky about it, it's probably like a 4.5. You guys knew I would be a simp for Xaden before I knew it myself, and you were so right. I completely understand why people are saying that this is for fans of Sarah J Maas. 100% would agree. Big Akamov vibes, I guess, in terms of the I guess, themes that we have here. The plot devices, some of the events of the book are not similar to Akamath in a way that I'd say it's a rip-off or anything, but like they're the same kind of events and plot twists, the same kind of characters. Also, I think for fans of From Blood and Ash, like if you like Blood and Ash, I feel like you'll like this as well. I really did like the first book in the Blood and Ash series. It was book 3 that ruined the entire thing for me, so hopefully that doesn't happen with this series. But yeah, I was a sucker for the romance. It's exactly the type of fantasy romance, like romance in a fantasy book, that I love. And not only that, I do like the plot. It's not anything new, like nothing that happened in here I would say is anything that I haven't seen before, but it doesn't have to be. Like, a book doesn't have to be new to blow you away. And I think that this does the things that it does well. Like, we have the dragon riding school element. One of my favorite books with dragons, actually, because while I love dragons in concept, I do feel like in execution, there's not that many dragon books that I've actually really loved. We have the school setting. There's also kind of like a series of trials in here, which is a popular trope. Enemies to lovers, done very well. Rebellion, done very well. So everything is a very like tried and true fantasy or fantasy romance trope, and I would say that nothing about this book is brand new, like a breath of fresh air, but I would say that everything in here is done very, very well. So if you are a fan of someone like Sarah J Maas and Jennifer L. Armentrout, who are two of like the biggest names that deal with these tropes very often, I feel like you'll really, really like Fourth Wing, and I loved it. I almost cried near the end of this, which was a little bit awkward because I was on a train, and I'm glad that I didn't end up crying. But there were points of emotion. I feel like there's good elements of found family. Some of it was a little bit cheesy, but that didn't really ruin the enjoyment for me as we were getting towards the end. I've said this before, like 5-star books for me are ones where I can really root for the characters and feel connected to them. Rebecca Yarros did a very good job of making me really care about the people that we're following in this book, to the point where like I was thoroughly invested in the story. And then you pair that, and you pair a strong romance with a decent fantasy world and a decent fantasy plot, and I'm sold. So yes, I was a sucker. I did give it 5 stars. It's not the perfect book. I definitely see some flaws in it, but I loved it. So take from that what you will. Rebecca Yarros as well was lovely when I met her. I'm really glad that I did get around to meeting her at Rare. Rare, as usual, was amazing. And I think a little bit better than Edinburgh, just because it was my second time at this particular rodeo, so I knew what to expect. I was interested in more of the ticketed authors, I feel, this year. It was a very different feel this year because we had general entry, because it was a lot busier, which obviously means it took longer, but it felt more like a convention because it felt very sparse when we were there last year, obviously just because we were there so early. Thought there was a really good atmosphere this year. I enjoyed meeting everybody, authors and you guys, and yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to going next year. So just before I pop out of this vlog, if you have enjoyed mine and Ashley's escapades this weekend, we are doing a group trip to Thailand that you can join us on if you want to come hang out with us. So the link to that will always be in my description box. I know I only mentioned it in my last vlog. I'm not going to be mentioning it all the time. It's just because this vlog felt especially relevant because it was travel-ish. Also, Ashley was in it. So yeah, if you want to come hang out with us in Thailand for a culinary exploration of Bangkok and Chiang Mai, you can find the details for that down in my description box. If you've liked this vlog with some reading and some travel in it, then do stay tuned, because on Tuesday I'm going back to London because I'm flying to Colorado so that I can go see Taylor Swift with Kelsey, aka KJ Sutton, the author of Fortuna Swan, which I'm so excited about, but also like feeling a little bit nervous and anxious about flying by myself. If you are somebody as well who's been thinking about joining me on the group trips that I've been doing recently, but you're a little bit nervous about traveling alone, me too. So we'll see how it goes when I go to Denver next week. And I am going to, I think, try and record at least some of that experience on Instagram, because I know there's a lot of people who generally just been a little bit nervous about traveling solo and want to have somebody talk about it, I feel, is the impression I'm getting from Instagram, like my Instagram DMs. But I'm very active on Instagram at the minute if you want to follow me on there. Like, you get to know the things before the vlogs, if that's something you care about. Anyway, wrapping this up because I'm going off on tangents. I do hope you've enjoyed this vlog. If you've made it this far, it's been a real fun one, and I'm so glad that I loved Fourth Wing, because like hype really does scare me, so I was worried. But if you did like this vlog, don't forget to like if you liked it, and subscribe if you wanna, and I'll see you guys next week. Bye!
Oh, you bite your friend like chocolate. You say you'll go where nobody knows, with guns hidden under our petticoats. We're never gonna quit it, no, we're never gonna quit it, no.